Hey folks, so I am working on a project right now, kind of a longer form project where I'm going over the reviews of a variety of different content creators, and the ways that they make arguments in a manner that's kind of disingenuous and build a narrative that is not necessarily accurate, shall we say. And I had not heard of this guy. I'd heard of him, but I hadn't heard anything about him. I knew he was vaguely in this sort of sphere, but nothing beyond that. But this was so much worse than I was expecting. I watched about a minute and a half, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a gold mine. This is gonna be this is something that I want to get my live reactions to. And so here we are. For those of you who haven't been keeping up with this series of Doctor Who, fair, it's on Disney Plus now. They're not exactly making it, I don't know, as easy to continue to follow along with, but nonetheless, it's been a pretty solid season overall. It's definitely got some overarching issues. One of those being the fact that because they have so few episodes and they're trying to do so many like experimental, big swing episodes, you end up struggling a bit to actually identify with the characters. When you do two Doctor Light episodes in a row in an 8-episode season, when it's that Doctor's first outing regularly, you run into some problems. But overall, Dot and Bubble is, when I'll take some time to make sure that this is necessary, that I'm definitely confident in this. But I think it's probably going to be one of my favorite single episodes of Doctor Who. Kind of, it struggles to compete maybe with some of the two-parters, but fantastic episode. Very well put together, very interesting, and very much avoided the one thing I was afraid that it was going to do. So, big fan of this episode. And this guy had some thoughts on it, so let's just let him talk.
Doctor Who Episode 5. The bizarre one. This is like if you took an episode of Black Mirror and had it written by an idiot. We found out in the previous episode if the Doctor leaves, then it gets better. This one proves if they both leave, it gets worse. And well, at first glance, I thought this episode was absence of messaging. Then we hit...
Okay, I don't know about all the viewership stuff. I don't know what that's going to turn out to be long term, like whether or not the viewership numbers, because I think this is just like the BBC ratings. I don't know. I haven't really followed along with it specifically. It's probably not telling the whole story because as far as I'm aware, this doesn't include the Disney Plus numbers. Again, haven't looked like super hardcore into it, but I do feel like that is potentially relevant. Nonetheless, I don't really care about the viewer numbers, but I do want to let him continue speaking because weird thoughts.
If they both leave, it gets worse. And well, at first glance, I thought this episode was absence of messaging. Then we hit the end, and I'm like, no, there's definitely something there. It's just so badly told, I'm not quite sure I know what it is, although I have my suspicions.
Okay, so this was like the first moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be good. My man here was of the opinion that this episode of Doctor Who that opens very much seeming like it's going to be a commentary on like Gen Z phone usage and technology and whatever. Thought it was just going to be like absent of messaging. Like Doctor Who episodes already have always been full of messaging from the goddamn beginning. Go back and watch. I mean, you could literally, like, the third Doctor straight up said he had a problem with the idea that England is only for the English.
My dear Mr. Chin, if I could leave, I would. If only to get away from people like you.
Doctor?
And your petty obsessions. England for the English, good heavens, man. I have a duty to my country, not to the world.
Bizarre take to have altogether. But then this episode opens so blatantly with what appears to be a very aggressive political message that I think was kind of a weird one. That the idea that you watched this episode and thought it was going to be absent messaging. It's like what? What are we talking about? I want to know what's going on in the brain of a person who watches the first 20 minutes of Dot and Bubble and thinks there are no politics in this whatsoever. They're not the messages that the show kind of ended up going for, but nonetheless, a bizarre way to watch movies.
Hello, Future Me here, post-recording. Russell D. Davies has since given interviews where he's essentially gone, this is badly made deliberately. And I'm putting this...
I'm going to stop you right there. I don't know what specifically he's referring to. Hopefully he'll get into it, but no, he didn't. Russell T. Davies did not say this was badly made on purpose. One, because it wasn't badly made, and two, because the showrunner of a currently running series is not going to say that an episode was intentionally poorly made.
This here, because I think when you know his reasoning for the episode, it makes it so much worse.
He wanted to explore all the racism.
Which, after reading the interview, I think he's just exploring his own.
Okay, I've commented on this before. I've done this in live streams. I've said, if you cannot get through a single sentence, a single quote from someone you disagree with without delving into the weird, terrible, like, SJW voice, I don't think that you're evaluating things very objectively. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that way, but I cannot fathom opening a video like with someone I disagree with and just instantly jumping into like the mocking, pathetic, like, I have no argument, so I'm just throwing playground insults voice around. It's just, it's very funny. And it's incredibly weak sauce, I guess, from this guy just to open up.
To highlight the reality of it in modern society, and for the audience to question why they didn't notice the lack of diversity in the cast sooner to create a memorable moment.
Okay, so far, he hasn't said that the show was made bad on purpose. I assume we're getting there eventually. But I sincerely want to ask a person what problem they have with this summary thus far, with being made to self-reflect a little bit, with being asked to question yourself just a tad. like what is your complaint here? He wants to explore racism. That motherfucker, that monster. Goddamn, he wants to explore a concept that has existed for thousands of years. Son of a bitch.
Is about challenging viewers to confront their own biases. There is a twist in this episode, and it makes zero sense. You don't see it coming, and that's the biases. There is a twist in this episode, and it makes zero sense. You don't see it coming, and that's the point.
I don't want to brag or anything. I don't think this is incredibly impressive. But I pretty much clocked what was going on like halfway through. I'm not necessarily going to blame a person for not catching it, for not catching the racism instantaneously. And initially my thought was that it was going to be more of like a class commentary than a race commentary. But if you heard comments like, I thought you guys looked the same, directly to a black man in an episode with no other black people, and didn't at least get the slightest inkling that maybe there might be something going on there, that's a you problem. And I'm not even saying you're a bigot for not catching that. Like, that's kind of the point of the episode. The episode is not trying to call you racist for not immediately catching it. The episode is trying to get you to question your own immediate biases, to make you think about how you perceive the world and question whether or not that is an accurate or fair way to perceive the world. Make you question whether or not there might be things that you're missing that other folks that, you know, in this case, marginalized folks might pick up on more immediately. It's a really, I don't want to say brave or impressive, but it's a really valuable concept to explore through the medium of television, using plot twists in order to explore the pathology of the audience is a fantastic means of exploring your characters, of exploring your relationship with a piece of media. And in this case, it was not subtle. If you go back and rewatch it, even if you did not catch it from the beginning, it's unbelievably obvious that the characters are racist or expressing some sort of racial bias, from the fact that Lindy immediately blocks the doctor but doesn't immediately block Ruby. Interesting. Okay, she's no interest in engaging with the black man, is somewhat willing to engage with the white woman, to the fact that she literally tells her friends that the black guy is not as stupid as he looks, to a variety of other moments, of other instances of little hints of what's going on. And if you go back and you still don't catch that, like, that's a you issue. Like, I don't know. The fact that he's like, this twist wasn't obvious at all. Yes, it was. I'm sorry. Yes, it was. Watch movies better.
If you don't see it coming, then you're a racist. That is the entire point of the episode.
That's not what they said.
Rather than this being a British show where the actual cast looks like the indigenous British. No, if you don't have a problem with Welsh people being
The indigenous British. Sorry. Being a cunt a little bit, but you know.
hired in a Welsh-made show, then you're the issue. He said
they were on a different planet. They weren't on Earth. It is not crazy to expect alien planets to have a different amount of biodiversity than fucking whales. Like, this is a show with tentacle aliens and shapeshifters and a whole wide variety of different creatures. Like, I'm sorry, you're like, oh, it should have a Welsh cast. Like, sure, man.
what we can't tell is how many people will work it out before the ending, because they've seen white person after white person after white person. They can only be whispered about it down.
Okay, go back to what they said. What we can't tell is how many people will work out that before the ending, because they've seen white person after white person after white person, and television these days is very diverse. They're asking you to consider noticing a difference, a change in the way that things are in this episode compared to other episodes of the show and other television in general. They're asking you to question why you may or may not have noticed that there's something different about this episode from other media. And the thing is, the really obvious thing is, and I don't know this guy specifically, but the way that he's acting is suggesting that maybe I'm onto something here. Whenever a cast is all not white, they notice instantaneously. It is immediately obvious to them. You go back and watch the Critical Drinker reviews, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and he instantly picks up on what he thinks are problems with the way that white people are being treated. You go back and watch the, I get so much use out of this clip, but the Geeks and Gamers video where they're reviewing the Fallout trailer, and he's just, every black person, he's like, diversity, diversity, diversity.
Holy fuck at the diversity.
Why did you join the Brotherhood?
Oh my god, the diversity. Diversity!
Like, yeah. Yeah, you will notice the other way around. So it is fair to ask, like, why didn't I notice when it's all white people, but I do every single time notice when it's all black people? Like, it's a worthwhile thing to explore, maybe. I don't know.
Because they've seen white person after white person after white person. They can only be whispered about it down dark hallways. How could you?
You're the one who whispered. That was text. On a screen.
Do not realize it when we've put these people on the screen. And these days, television is so very diverse, because you all live in pissing London. This episode could have just been set in the north. I wonder, will it be 10 minutes, 15, 20, before you start to think everyone in this community is white? And
okay, I do have kind of a mild critique of the way that this is being framed, because I don't think it's just the fact that everybody is white. It's a variety of different, what I guess people might describe as like microaggressions happening. Obviously, like, that is a worthwhile commentary, but there is so much more to it that, like, you can if you're not going to clock that everybody is white in the first like 10-ish minutes, you're probably not going to clock it for the rest of the episode. But then there's a bunch of other things that they're referencing, that they're gesturing at, that they're trying to get you to notice. I don't know. I mean, I don't know I don't even know who's being interviewed here or exactly the context of what they're talking about, but it's definitely more than just that. Not to say that wouldn't be worthwhile on its own, because it absolutely would.
that's a problem for some reason, rather than just the majority of the nation. And if you don't think that, then why didn't you?
Again, they're not in Wales. They're not in the UK. They're on a different planet.
Is it because you're British and this is a British show filmed in Britain? That's going to be so interesting. And I hope it's going to be one of those pieces of television you'll see and always remember.
Okay, wait a second. I don't know the racial makeup of the UK. Let's look up. 83% white, 8.6% Asian British, 3.7% Black British, 2.7% British mixed, 2% other. And that is 2021 to 2022, so pretty recent numbers. So, yeah, majority of the country, by no means everybody, and it's perfectly reasonable to consider why it's not 83% white in this episode, but 100% white, right? Like that's a thing worth exploring. I'm not saying that it's necessarily that every single thing that contains only white people is racist. Of course not. But it is worth posing the question. It's worth exploring what's going on there, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought.
I tell you what, you'll get that wish. No one is going to forget what a hateful piece of absolute trash you are, Davis. Millie Gibson, the reveal.
I really hope that he substantiates what was hateful about this episode. I really want to see it. I want to know what was bigoted against white people here.
At the end, it was heartbreaking because it's the moment you look around and you realize everyone is white. I'd fire everyone involved with the creation of this episode if it was me. The fact.
Okay, in the context of the episode, for those of you who haven't seen it, the heartbreaking realization is that the characters are racist and that they're willing to go to their graves racist rather than accept help from a black man. If you've watched the episode, that's really obvious. The way that this article poses that quote and the way that he's framing it is making it seem like she's saying it's heartbreaking that everyone's white. No, it's heartbreaking when you see what the racists are willing to do, which I think is a fair, heartbreaking moment in a piece of media, personally. Like, it was a pretty sad experience watching what happened there.
The fact that you think this is a problem is a problem. And the fact that you're now using this story, if you didn't see that coming, the problem is the problem is definitely you, Davis. One person on X commented, why is everybody like this in the Doctor? It felt off. They've always tried to be as diverse in the casting as possible. And then the twist came, and all the microaggressions made sense.
I don't know if I would necessarily... God, my face is so washed out. I don't know if I would necessarily say that Doctor Who has tried to be diverse all the time. That feels like maybe a little bit of an overstatement. But yeah, it does. It does make more sense when you get to the end. You see that they're racist and suddenly, oh yeah, all of the microaggressions do start to fall into place, do start to make some kind of sense. You know? It's almost like they were setting you up for a twist, and as a successful twist might function. Going back and rewatching the episode, every moment, or most moments at least, make more sense with the context of the future twist in mind. I don't know, man.
Praise the slugs. Authenticity is key to media because your intention to a piece of work shines through. If you don't care about it, people will know. And what you care about shines through as well. It does in this episode, so enjoy it. So I'll send you back to past me before I knew this, where I just had my suspicions about the hateful bile that was being spewed out of the true monster of this series of Doctor Who.
The hateful... These people are legitimately... I'm sorry, I know I've only engaged with 3 minutes of this man's content, and this is, the first time that I've ever seen his face. This is fucking pathetic. It's so goddamn weak that the people who will constantly cry, we're not racist, because of despite the fact that we constantly seem to have an issue with minorities in our media and always complain about that, we're not racist, but then one goddamn article that, that gestures at maybe asking white people to self-reflect a little bit, and they're like, oh, this hateful bile, oh, this is this true monster of this series, it's evil, genuinely man-baby behavior. Go back to preschool, my friend. Would you like to play with some blocks? I probably shouldn't have used blocks as an example. I didn't mean those blocks, but goddamn, dude.
Russell T. Davis. So join me as we try and put those jigsaw pieces together and dig through the mess to work out what on earth they're trying to say in an episode that I think is best described as the one where they ran out of money, because there is one word for this episode, and that is cheap. We start with a woman who's annoying at the start and you'll hate by the...
I don't know the budget for this episode. Actually, yeah, let's take a look at the... Also, very weird, I don't even know why I didn't instantly catch this, very weird critique to have of a Doctor Who episode. Objectively, for its popularity, one of the historically cheapest looking shows on the planet. Let's see here. Supposedly episodes were produced between Disney co-financing. So it looks like the budget has gone up. I'm not going to spend all of the time to quintuple verify that that's actually what's going on. But it doesn't seem like the budget has gone significantly down. And again, even if it had, this is Doctor Who we're talking about. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm chill with that one.
The end of it, trust me on this. Is it a good idea to have an entire episode about a character who's so insufferable? Well, they thought so.
Dot and Bubble.
You see what I mean about Black Mirror? Oh, it's a high-tech future, completely full of arseholes. So every morning, she essentially picks up her phone and enters social media. We're already in my idea of hell. Not so much the picking up the phone and checking social media, it's the people on it.
Hi there, Lindsay. Such a super day. You look so good, baby.
I'd go back to bed. Oh, it's you. Get away. Also, can they see you in bed? You look so good. It's like you've just had your hair and makeup done before you gently put your head down on that pillow and didn't move. There's a reason why video calls never became the standard way of calling people. Nobody...
I can't tell if he's trying to make a criticism here, but if he is, it's very, very bizarre. And if he's not, I mean, okay, but like, yeah, it's a tech dystopia. You're right that it should look like your idea of hell. And this was the point where I thought that the episode was going for like a, you know, everyone's on their phones, social media, whatever take, and it was going to have like, you know, no nuance, and it was just kind of going to be like them Zoomers, you know, that kind of commentary. So when he said at the beginning that he thought this episode was going to have no messaging, and then he plays literally like the first goddamn clip of the episode, like how did you think that was going to have no messaging? How did you think there was going to be no political allegory going on there, like from the first 5 seconds?
Nobody wants to see a gremlin face in the morning.
So kind. And kindness all day long.
Good morning to you.
Ugh, I didn't fake that. That was genuine revulsion. But we get a parade
All of these people look normal, and also I think he did fake that.
of absolutely no testosterone. And at this point, I did...
Okay, you see, like, do you see what I mean when I say that maybe there's something worth engaging with the fact that, like, these people didn't notice that they don't notice when a cast is entirely white, but they do notice whenever the cast doesn't conform to their very minute view of what a human should be. Like, okay, yeah, he didn't notice that literally every person on screen here is white, but he did notice that the man was too feminine for him. Like, those are the things that he notices. It raises a question. It raises, like, the question to me of what are your priorities, maybe? What is going on in your head that those are the things that you notice, you know? I don't know. It's worth exploring, maybe?
didn't notice anything. You might be able to notice a pattern. It just wasn't American-brained enough to see it at first, until they spell it out at the end.
Hop, hop, hop. Today is toasty.
And no, I don't mean they're all insufferable. Although now I know the ending, I think that was deliberate as well.
So tired of this, babes.
I heard from Lucia.
Yes, it was deliberate. Why are you reviewing an episode if you cannot gather like the most basic writing techniques? I would start there.
I'm so tired of this, babes. Oh, babes. Oh, babes here. I hated the word before, but after this series, I never want to hear it again.
And it turns out that woman was her sister.
No. I thought that woman was your brother. But as you can see, again, across the entire screen, a lot of blondes. Lot of gingers. Not much else. I mean, normally you'd just be like, maybe this is filmed in Wales or Scotland. But this is the BBC. They don't do casting like this for no reason. In the 90s, this had been normal. And the weird thing is, I think they're meant to make you pick up on this. Do you know there's something going on?
Isn't that interesting? That in the 90s, that would have just been entirely normal as a consistent pattern, mind you. Again, it is not an intrinsic problem with a single episode of a show being primarily white, but doesn't that maybe raise some questions about the ways that media represents people? Because I doubt that the UK was 100% white in the 90s. You know, I'm not gonna check those numbers, but I'm pretty sure that black and brown people existed there even then. So isn't it interesting? Isn't it worth questioning why one of those is so noticeable, why the existence of brown people in media is so noticeable to you, the existence of effeminate male characters in media is so noticeable to you, and yet for some reason all white casts are 100% normal. I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it?
Did you know that? Well, there was a lot
That was the gayest my voice has ever sound, and I'm saying this as a person with the gayest voice on the planet.
of ginger people. Notices that her friend is offline, which is weird.
Have you heard from Mabel and Neve?
At this point, I thought the weird part was the people, but for entirely the wrong reasons. I forgot that to Russell T Davies, this is the normal bit.
It doesn't even feel particularly queer to me. It just feels natural. This is the world.
I tried to link, but they're gone.
Lindsay babes.
Hello, babes. We're gonna say babes all the time again.
Stand up.
Also, and I haven't gone back and checked this myself, but that character, let's go back to his face. That blurry guy there, or, you know, blurry non-binary character. I don't know. Good for them. Yeah, there have been brown people in the UK. Like what? Son of a bitch. Like we're like a far cry from that whole, you know, the air in Britain is, you breathe the air in Britain and you become free, whatever. Like, nope, no longer. But as far as I'm aware, like that character with the kind of bluish green hair is one of the most blatantly like queer presenting characters in the show. And if you pay attention to their subscriber numbers, at least other people have noticed this, they seem to have the lowest subscriber number, right? Like, even in the context of this society, they're less popular than their, you know, cisgender heterosexual counterparts, whatever. So, like, even in the context of this, that character is in a way being otherized. So when he's like, oh, I thought that this was the normal bit of the episode, to Russell T Davies, like, it really wasn't. Like, there were bits and pieces of commentary going on all over the place in this episode if you were paying even a lick of attention.
Lindsay babes.
Hello, babes. We're gonna say babes all the time again.
Stand up.
Yes, they're making fun of these characters. Like, I feel like you're making fun of the show for that, but the show is making the same joke that you are.
No, that's not a joke. She did have to be told to stand up, and it gets worse.
Again, the show is making fun of like I guess maybe the show's not making the exact same joke as you, because when you're making the joke in your head, you're like screaming racial slurs. But other than that, the show is making the same joke as you, and you seem to be unaware of that fact.
Left. Forward.
We see that she stays in social media because for some reason she wants to continue talking to these insufferable cows. Follows the direction of getting told where to
Okay.
go while she can't see anything.
Forward. Forward.
If I was the computer, I'd just make her walk into a wall.
Do I need to pee?
Your run content is 0 for the third day in a row.
I haven't peed for 3 days. Celebration. If I balance the quinoa and SSRIs, I can maintain that level for weeks. I'm not sure why he's even talking like this is healthy.
Well done, Lindy. Don't waste the day with daily waste.
Yeah, don't waste the day. Going to pee for those 10 seconds, it'll really ruin your morning.
I cannot breathe. Have you seen?
Okay, is he just gonna be like making the same joke that the show? Like, this feels like his review should not be fair use because he's just doing the episode again. Like I thought that this was supposed to be in some way transformative, but it's literally just like he's just repeating the contents of the episode back to you while playing the contents of the episode.
Amazing.
I know the people on social media are scary, but if we stay together, I think we can get through this alive.
If I had met him, I would simply die.
I would block you.
Wow.
But then she opens Ricky September or Vicky September. I don't know. Okay.
It's said numerous times in the episode, and it's also on screen. I don't know why you, as a man who is apparently so deeply invested in white British culture, are not familiar with letters of the English language, but it feels like if you're gonna have controversial opinions on brown people, you should probably at least figure out your own language.
And he's supposed to be like a social media e-celeb. Essentially makes TikTok videos for a living. Bad ones. The videos is just, ha, I exist.
You don't know me, but my name is the Doctor.
Speaking of people that make bad videos, the Doctor appears.
In the real world, there are monsters and they are coming to...
They work for the BBC. There's people out there, they're monsters, and they're coming for you. They want to take you back to their hotel room and do horrific acts.
No, Lindy DeLong!
Dude, I've watched like commentary YouTubers before that, you know, just like make jokes at the expense of a show, and none of them are this bad at it. Like you have to either be self-aware or be making jokes at the expense of the show that the show is not making itself. Like I don't know. Hopefully, like we're gonna speed this up because I want to get to actual commentary and not whatever the hell this is.
So she blocks the Doctor, which, quite frankly, most base thing I've ever seen in the series of Doctor Who.
This is very funny when you realize at the end of the episode that canonically she is blocking the Doctor because he's black. The most based thing that she's ever done. Like, at this point, I'm pretty sure he knows that fact. I don't know. It's just an interesting slip up there.
There's a lot of things to dislike about this episode. This is one of those, I don't even know if that translates across the pond moments, but it was a song that was around when I was a kid. And after seeing the ending, I do think this is meant to be deliberately humiliating, as they're all acting like children, obsessed with social media in their own world, and essentially blind to anything that might be happening outside of their little bubble. In fact, when Cutie Cat was...
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, that is what's happening. Damn, okay, all right, we're taking a turn. He did just accurately identify one of the themes of the episode. Good job, man. That's, as far as I'm aware, not the correct way to pronounce Shooty or Nshooty, depending on full or nickname. It's not how to pronounce his name, but, you know, other than that, like, we're in a good spot.
Said, what's scary is we all live in social media bubbles. I live in a very leftist liberal bubble, and there's a great episode where we lean into that. I didn't realize he was being so literal. It's a literal bubble. It's even in the title of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah? Yes, he was being yes. He was saying a sentence with a double... Yes. Why are you acting like this is some bit of insight?
I don't want to add the word cringe to my vocabulary, but it's getting there. Oh, and they live in a bubble. Like I say, the lower IQ you write for, the more times you have to hammer it home to the audience. The only thing that...
Oh, that's the case that he's making. Yeah, except for the fact that this is all kind of a misdirect for the themes of the episode. They're expecting you to think that this is going to be a heavy-handed critique of social media bubbles as like a Gen Z, like Zoomer thing. I know that means the same thing. Like they're expecting you to think that it's about the fact that that, you know, kids live in social media bubbles and they're on their phones all the time and they're not experiencing life and all of that stuff. And so they're leaning into that really heavily because they're hitting you with the bubble over and over again because they're hammering home that that's what the message of this looks like, so that then at the end, when they subvert that and show you that actually the bubble represented something else, your perception of everything that's happened is just a little bit changed. It's actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, a lot more subtle than I even thought that it was. It's a lot more creative than I initially even realized. But yeah, they're hammering it home on purpose so that they lead you to a particular view of what's going on so that they can subvert that later. Although, if you were really paying attention, it wasn't much of a subversion, you know, which I guess is oftentimes the mark of a good piece of subversion. You know, I literally defined what makes a good twist earlier. Like, it's basically what this is.
They don't do it throughout the entire episode, is the lazy race twist at the end, where they just assume that your brain is constantly working like the BBC. And so, obviously, you will have noticed. I'm like, no, love, because you work at the BBC in London. That's why you think this looks weird. That's why you think blondes and gingers are unusual.
Lazy? It's peppered into the dialogue for the entire episode. Like, even if you didn't like this episode, you can't really call the twist lazy when it's been incorporated into the very structure of the entire episode.
Where everything's fine all of the time.
That actually reminds me of a comedy sketch.
Breaking news is that everything is now fine after a major incident.
Things were briefly not fine, but now everything's fine again.
Everything is fine here and back to normal. That's the latest.
There was a brief temperature increase at some point in the history, but after that happened, everything is now fine, and it was fine when I arrived.
Behind me, everything is now fine. Ignore the smoke, that's just from the recent explosion. Everything is fine now.
Mitchell and Webb Look really was a great sketch show, but this city is a clean paradise. There's no crime, the weather's fine, and everything is great. I'm not sure this is the message Russell T Davies intended to put out in the episode, but as is not a reason why. And you can see everyone's walking around with their bubbles on.
Oh, they're just looking at their phones, and this is a really basic analogy.
I think that's why I had to put the thing in at the end about blondes and gingers, because...
Oh, look, everyone's on their phones.
Isn't really enough to make an episode about, is it?
Yes, that's...
You look so beautiful, Lindy.
You look so beautiful. The only reason I can imagine you'd have these friends is if they were forced to in a prison colony. Hers are voluntary.
So I'm not depleting any of my time's resources. I'm so careful about that.
I'm not using anyone's resources. I don't even pee.
I look so cute. You are influencing me hard.
All I know is I can't stand any of them. But as the woman's about to play a trumpet for some reason, she gets told to turn right.
Turn left.
And it's to avoid a body on the floor. I don't know why she can't hear the screaming as she walks past. That is a bit unusual. Also, this person seems to have black blood, which is either because it's the BBC in a kid show or another metaphor. I'm not really sure. But we find out she arrives at...
Wait, I'm sorry, was that black blood? Okay, I'm just gonna assume that was like a slip up or whatever, or like I don't know, I'm not gonna punish a person for being colorblind or whatever it is. Yeah, that's whatever. It was just confusing.
Still in a social media bubble.
So unfair. Now we have to work.
I think her working is literally just sitting at a table on social media. I can only assume she works at the pre-Elon Twitter.
Never told us how boring it would be. Boring.
Are we still in the year of our Lord 2024 defending Elon Musk's Twitter? Like, is that... We're like, oh yeah, that man really cleaned house.
It's boring, despite the fact that I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah, you just called all your friends boring to their faces.
Boring.
I like it.
It was nice of all the friends to agree they were boring.
Yeah, they're shallow. They're trying to hammer this home to you. I'd like it's not clear. Like, does he not get it? Does he not realize what's going on? Like, this is not subtle commentary, but it feels like he doesn't realize that that's what the show is trying to hammer home. Again, they're trying to be unsubtle about it so that they can make you think more about what happened later. But I think does he really not catch even just the unsubtle shallowness of it all? Like, is that too much for him? Reminder that at this point in the episode, he still thinks that it has literally no messaging, as he said at the beginning of the video. He still thinks that there's no political messaging going on here whatsoever. So I guess maybe his analytical skills are not something I should be relying on.
No.
I get really bad hand chapping.
I'm not even sure what hand chapping is. I thought it was chapping on your lips. What are you doing to your hands?
Isn't chapping a funny word?
That's also in every episode. We've now reached a point where there's so many things that are deliberately put into every episode. I don't know whether they're just memes or part of the plot anymore.
Some sort of spoor? Man, that's a good word. Spoor.
I get chapping everywhere.
Nobody wants to know, mate. Let's just say I believe you and move on. But along turns up the companion, because in this episode, it's basically just a Skype call.
Like, can I talk to you about your boss? Where did you work? Where's your friends?
Everyone keeps turning me down. Please, Lindy. Oh, I love that top.
Everyone's so superficial. The only way you can talk to them is by complimenting them and
appealing to their narcissism. Say the people...
Yes. Yeah. You say that in a mocking voice as though the show isn't aware of that fact. Yes! Congratulations! You've correctly identified another message that this portion of the episode is communicating.
Working in the media industry about normal people. It says we all work 2 hours a day, 2 long hours, and then we get the rest of the day free, where I assume she just walks around and talks to her friends on social media. It's like, okay, but the other people in your office, do you know who they are? Do you know where they are? Can you see them in the room?
Are they where? At their desks. How should I know?
I can't even be bothered to take off the bubble. I'm too busy staring at my phone. I don't know whether this analogy has hammered itself into your face yet, but we spent about the next half an hour doing it, and so we get this blunt force trauma to the face for a long time.
What am I supposed to do? Look.
Again, they're hammering home the phone analogy so that they can alter the meaning of it later. I guess I'm gonna have to stop repeating that every single time that he brings it up. But he's attacking the writing for being unsubtle when it is very much being unsubtle. There's got to be a better word than that. But it is very much being unsubtle on purpose so that it can raise questions later.
Look.
Like I say, at first, I just thought it was about the media bubble, and now I think it's ritual humiliation.
Yes, if you want to talk to Danny J, you can talk to him on here.
So I'll skip the next bit, because it's basically that dragged out for a long time. She calls a friend, she can't talk to him. We spend far too long convincing her to just take down the bubble and look.
I can't do that.
Okay, well, can you just look through the windows then, you pissing ignorant cow?
You could always see it.
Dude doesn't character exploration. They take a long time to convince her to lower her bubble because they're trying to give you a picture of what kind of character Lindy is. My man does not just very basic character writing, I guess.
If he's there with your own eyes, I mean, you could lower your bubble.
Oh. If you're thinking there's no way that she has to be told such an obvious fact, yes, she does. No, there's no point to it. No, it doesn't make any sense. No, it's not
Yes, there's a point to it. It's the point that I just described.
Like Black Mirror, where they actually thought it through. Other people are realizing that her friends are disappearing, an ever-increasing list.
Can you stay inside and look beyond it? Can you do that? I can do whatever I want.
Okay, then why don't you just piss off? I have a feeling that's to show the entitlement of the self-indulgent narcissism. Like I say, making your main character annoying this short into the episode. Not a good idea. But she gazes through the social media window. There's no one there. It's like, okay, but there's supposed to be a guy next to you. I mean, is he there?
Is he there? Oh, who cares?
Well, I mean, you did about 5 seconds ago when you said this.
They can't not be here. We all have to work. It's what we do.
You seemed really annoyed about it then. And now...
Is he there? Oh, who cares?
10 seconds.
Okay, yeah, no. He just doesn't, he just doesn't pay attention to the contents of episodes. Yeah, this character is unreasonable. She is very clearly sheltering herself intentionally. She's living inside of a bubble where she avoids anything that challenges her day-to-day calm, happy-go-lucky perception of the world. So yes, she says, oh, they can't not be there because that's the rules of the world. But as soon as she realizes that the fact that they're not there is a real possibility, she wants to shelter herself from it. Like, this is good character writing. It's not immaculate, beautiful, perfect, impeccable character writing. It's like, it's competent. Like, this man does not comprehend competent character writing. I am afraid to see how he perceives like really detailed, thoughtful character studies or character moments, which I guess there are probably some later in this episode, so perhaps we will see.
Contradicted herself, don't care. But she looks to the side of her and sees a monster eating somebody.
What did you see? I need to get back to work.
I don't know why that's a reaction. Entirely nonsensical.
Lindy, what did you
Wait,
see?
I can only assume the body.
What did you see? I need to get back to work.
I don't know why that's a reaction. Entirely nonsensical.
Lindy, what?
Okay, it's the thing I said. She's sheltering herself. She is trying to avoid the problems directly in front of her, or I guess directly to her left. Yes, she's irrational, man.
Did you see?
I can only assume the bubble is meant to be some kind of like comfort blanket, and it's Davis's way of going, we use our phones to numb ourselves to the horrors of the world. I think is essentially what he's trying to get at. But very specific horrors. Because remember, the BBC are full of bigots, and so there is a point to all of this. So
Yes! What? Like, is the pattern of this guy's review just gonna be like mockingly repeating plot points of the episode back to you and implying that they're criticisms, and then later saying, oh, by the way, I did understand that, but I just didn't make you aware of it. Like, I guess that's a way to make a critique of a piece of media. Like, if you really want to sell your like anti-SJW or anti-woke narrative, you criticize the show for a bunch of stuff that isn't actually a problem so that it's like registered in your viewers' brains, and then you can go back later and correct it, but by that point the lie or the misrepresentation has already spread. So like you've already cemented this in their brains in the incorrect way. I guess that is the only logical reason that I can think of for this, besides he just doesn't have a clue what he's talking about or is like incapable of structuring a review.
She's convinced to take down the bubble. She looks over, and it is some weird monster just eating a person. Clothes and all. I can only imagine that he tastes better because he hasn't peed in like a week. No waste, better taste. That's the rhyme they should be saying.
Also, he earlier in the review called this incredibly cheap looking, and like, that CGI ain't bad. It's not perfect, but that ain't bad.
All in all, pretty gruesome monster. It's a shame they ruin it. It's like the bubble, and Ruby's like, okay, we need to get you out of here. Just leave the room.
Shame they ruin it. Oh
walk out of the room. It doesn't even care about you. Walk out of the room. This leads her to comfort herself by watching like the worst TikTok video ever made. It's just like, I exist here and I'm wiggling a bit. Look at me, you're all blondes and gingers. That's unusual in the United Kingdom. But Ruby's like, I've got a friend, we can bring him back on. He knows what to do. He knows how to deal with this.
Oh, just leave me alone, will you?
Did anything seem weird about that interaction? Because I didn't think so, with bearing in mind.
Is it something to do with you?
No.
Do I just associate you with monsters? Really clumsy writing.
Trying to find out what...
That wasn't even one of the like really obvious microaggressions. Like, yeah, in hindsight, that is an example of her being prejudiced, but I don't think that's one of the moments that they were expecting you to catch on.
It is.
And I do wonder if it's that clumsy deliberately, so you don't understand it and you think it's normal until you get to the end and like, oh, well, aren't you part of the bad guys for not noticing? But he says you need the bubble off because I don't think you can...
They also didn't accuse you of being the bad guys for not noticing. Like, this show is literally... The interview you're talking about, they asked you to, like, self-reflect. They're literally just asking you to question your own immediate assumptions. They're not calling you the bad guy. This is, like, one of the things that gets to me so goddamn much every time these guys are like, oh, they're calling the fans racist. Oh, they're attacking us. Oh, they hate the fans. And then it's like, you look at the thing they said, and actually they're just like, hey, you should consider questioning some of your perceptions or self-reflecting a little bit. Like, no, they're not. No, they aren't. You're just a snowflake. Like, that's just it. Any amount of like mild critique that you get causes you to curl up into your little snail shell and like whisper to yourself that it's gonna be okay. They're the real racists. Like, it's so fucking cowardly beyond anything else. And I don't know. Like, I have no respect for the kind of person that is this fucking shallow.
If you have the bubble up, you might just walk straight into one and have it eat you. Takes the bubble down, and then we've got the strangest scene in the world. You're like, well, that's a weird way of doing it, but maybe she's just scared. Maybe she just doesn't want to look at the creature or turn her back on it, so we get this weird halfway house. No, she's just an idiot. No, I mean, she's really an idiot. I'm pretty sure this is ritual humiliation.
I'm so stupid.
I agree.
Did you do it yourself? I don't know how to walk. What do you mean?
No, she literally, I don't know how to walk. I'm too thick to walk. The message at the moment is because everybody has a phone and they're so addicted to social media, they don't know how to walk without looking at the phone. In this...
No, the message is not literally everybody has a phone and so they can't walk. The message is, as we become reliant on technology to perform basic tasks for us, we get worse at those basic tasks. Do you not understand that a metaphor or an allegory is not literally a one-to-one representation of the real world? When they say, when this happens in this episode, they're not saying that is literally how things are. They're giving you an exaggerated, satirical version of how things hypothetically could be. And yeah, it's a bit far-fetched. It's a bit like this very moment in the show stretched my suspension of disbelief a little bit, but it is not the thing that you are saying that it is.
Well, they literally have to be told to walk forwards.
How to walk without the arrows. You don't know how to walk.
Yes, it doesn't make any sense, does it, Ruby? Like, how would that even work? It's like saying you can't drive unless the GPS tells you where to go. They can obviously still drive. They just get lost. She can obviously still walk. She just wouldn't know where to walk.
The arrows.
You don't know how to walk without...
I know, it's really stupid, isn't it? It's like it was terrible writing.
I hate you.
Okay, yeah, but if you rely on the tech... Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't even necessarily need to defend this moment. I see what he's saying a little bit more now. It's still kind of silly, but like if this stretches your suspension of disbelief too far, like that's fine. I'm not gonna blame you for that.
And for some reason acts like a kid. But the moment she asks for an exit and the bubble starts telling her to walk forwards, suddenly she knows how to walk forwards again. I'd love someone to explain how that works. What happens if she just told herself to walk forwards? What would happen then? I'd love to know. Forward. But now she's told to walk, she escapes. Until she gets to the lift.
You are doing really, really well.
Oh, condescending much?
And he gets confused, but no, he really did sound condescending.
That's good. You're amazing, lady. I swear to the sky.
Oh, congratulations, love. I swear to the sky. You're so amazing. You managed to walk out of a door, round a corridor, and out of a classroom. Oh, you're doing so well. You're so amazing. Of course it sounds condescending. You're just so used to being overly flamboyant and over the top that you think that's normal.
He doesn't even feel particularly...
No, he doesn't. He's trying to appeal to her. He's trying to do the exact same thing that Ruby did earlier, where she flatters this lady and tries to make her feel really good about herself because these people are really shallow and they think that's the best way of reaching them. The difference is that it's more condescending coming from him to her because of what we learn later in the episode.
Queer to me, it just feels natural. This is the world.
Which is why you're confused. But as we get to see the creature, it's telling her to walk forwards into it. No, go against it, you gotta go backwards, don't go forwards, it'll eat you. This is a scene done to scare people, doesn't make sense in the story. We find out later it's killing people in a specific order, and it's not her time yet, so it should actually be telling her to go backwards, because it doesn't want to kill her at the moment, because she's not next. But we haven't been told that part of the plot yet, so technically...
Okay, I don't necessarily buy that, but... That's not the worst observation in the world. I still get the impression that if you walked straight into one of the slugs, if you walked straight into one of them, like it would still eat you. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the technology at no point actually navigated them around the slugs, so I don't think that that's like super crazy that it didn't do that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's not the successful nitpick number 1. We are 16 minutes into this video.
It doesn't apply to the story, is how Davis seems to write things now. They start screaming at her directions and then attempt to override something else giving her directions, but she doesn't have a brain of her own, apparently. Why would you?
Oh, no, wait, yeah, no, it's literally discussed later, actually, or it's discussed earlier, that the dots literally just don't perceive the slugs, which I assume they do intentionally, but I imagine that the dot is literally just not registering the presence of a slug. Again, like, this is still a potentially valid nitpick, and it's possible that my explanation there is wrong, which is why I think it's a potentially valid nitpick, but it's not insane to me now that I think of it, that, like, that's what they were going for.
You could see it's gonna eat you. It's like, oh, just walk forwards like it told me so.
This is what social media does to you. People just blindly follow what it tells them, even when it takes them into danger.
I don't think I've ever seen social commentary done so unwieldy. But the monster walks past...
Again, it's unwieldy on purpose so that it can be subverted later.
...past her and ignores her because, like I said, it's not her time, so it didn't make any sense for the bubble to try and make it her time, did it?
Why did it do that? What?
Why did the machine try and make her walk into it? It's like there must be something different about you, some reason why all these things are ignoring you. Is it a perfume? Did you eat something weird? Have you not peed within the last 3 days? Of course, she ignores the doctor, and instead...
Police.
All lines are busy.
Now, to me, this was normal. To the BBC, this is horrific. You're ignoring Cutie, and instead, the moment you see him, you decide to call the police. Are you insane? Do you know the history of this? Like I said, when I was watching it, I'm a normal person. I didn't put
Did they ever say that this moment was one of the racist moments? Like, one of the obvious ones? Like, yeah, it's... Like, yeah, in hindsight, this is her being prejudiced, but I don't think that... Like, I don't think it's crazy to expect someone... Or to not notice that as a moment of prejudice. Like, this is one of the bits that does not register to me as like an obvious microaggression, especially because Ruby is literally right there and she's not asking her for help.
Any of this together until the end. In fact, I think writing this is like a bigger detector. But as she's walking through the clean buildings, it's like, look, we need to find out what's on the outside. I need you to drop the bubble and look around.
Just for 10 teeny tiny seconds.
I'm not a child.
A lot of mixed messages, make her act like a child, have her deny being a child. I know I'm not a child, but social media infantilizes me as I think what they're getting at. But she takes...
But yeah, she's resistant to being talked to condescendingly, but she is actually childish. That's not mixed messages. One character saying something and then another character disagreeing with them is not mixed messages.
She's down the bubble. She sees other people in the bubble just walking into them. And someone who decided to get banged in front of a window. Something like that anyway. There's lots of screaming. A guy literally getting dragged inside a hot dog, maybe a snail. She's not going to help you. Instead, come back inside social media. She gets the machine to navigate her to a hiding space. If I was the AI, I'd probably have chosen a better hiding spot than that. And then, look, we'd love to help.
It's not trying to hide her. It's trying to take her to an accessible location. How can you complain that the show doesn't register its own twist from the beginning when you seem also unaware of the mechanics of the twist? Like, come on. This is really basic stuff.
Oh, but we actually can't reach you. Yeah, we swear appearing on a webcam. It's not to save money, nor were we off recording another video somewhere. We swear it's none of those reasons. No, it's actually because the bubble around the city can keep the TARDIS out. The TARDIS. It can travel through time and space, smash through the barriers of...
Congratulations, you've discovered how bottle episodes work. Like, yeah, they do that all the time. Like, why are you acting like this is some novel observation that they're doing this particular part of the episode is like a cost-saving measure? Yeah, no shit. And why does everything you say as a critique of this show come off in the exact same tone of voice, regardless of whether it makes any sense at all?
Different realities, but it can't penetrate the sphere of bigotry. What she tells them, I saw some people walking straight past them, and other guys were, they were getting dragged inside their mouths.
Something can people don't.
Meanwhile, we get a spinning sphere of all the faces, and it's like, this is the BBC. And even though it's in England, there's just something nagging me about all the people.
Maybe it's your diet, height, or something in your DNA. Am I?
There's nothing weird about them. It's just interesting to note that 100% of this cast, besides Ncuti Gatwa, is white, when that is very much not representative of the UK.
Kind of don't see those things.
Maybe it's your height, yeah. Maybe they are too tall to get eaten by the monster. Nice one, Doctor. But she says...
Yes, he's hypothesizing. He's trying to come up with stuff on the fly. Why are you shocked by this? This is literally like the Black Spot episode, series 5 or 6, where the Doctor comes up with a bunch of theories that all turn out to be wrong until the very end. Like, were you offended then? Were you mad that the Doctor came up with bad ideas then? Like, yes, her height is not a very good idea, a very good reason for the slugs to be skipping her. But he's just spitballing here. Like, that's how the Doctor does things. I don't know, man.
The creature must have come from the wild woods. We're told that this city is dangerous, but there's a shield protecting us from the dangers of the wild woods outside and the creatures within it. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's full of sheep and random things. We don't go out there. We stay in the city where we belong.
Your security is crazy tight. It's blocked me. I'm stuck on the outside of the city.
Your security is crazy tight. It's blocked me. And now I'm even wondering if that is very specific. It may not have blocked the TARDIS. It may have actually have blocked him. Is Davis that blunt? I'm not sure.
Ooh. That is not the worst observation he could have had. I'd be kind of surprised if that's what they were going for, but you know what? I'm going to give him a second point for that one. He has 2 points now. He has 2 valuable observations. Actually, he made another one before. Oh, he's got 2 valuable observation points and 1 potentially valid nitpick point. So good job, buddy.
Oh, but I think so. What even is this place? Well, we all get shipped here from the homeworld.
No stinky old folk, just people ages 17 to 27.
I'm surprised you didn't come up with a lot. Resume everywhere.
Not just anyone, if you can afford it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. So this is for the rich, young, and stupid.
I thought you were like Office Drones.
And because I've not noticed anything else, I just assumed they were talking about, like, class. No. And she said Mummy paid for it all, and it turns out to be Susan Twist.
They were talking about class. That was very much relevant to what was being discussed there.
Who's in every episode.
She's the face of the ambulance in Disparu 3.
Finally beginning to realize, hang on, I keep saying her. She's all over the place. We've just never mentioned it before.
No, I've seen her somewhere else.
But because they're looking at each other, she's like, hang on, are you two in the same room? And it's weird that they felt the need to lie about that.
You are. You're in the same room. You're together.
And why would a place that used to look like England 30 years ago be so concerned that they're in the same room and together? What could we possibly be commenting on? It eludes me.
You lied.
Although when I was watching it, it genuinely did elude me because nobody cares about this apart from Russell T Davies.
Didn't I block you? I knew it. I did. I thought that you just looked the same.
I even missed that. My brain doesn't work on this level. This is why
That was like that was a very obvious jab in that manner. Like, I'm sorry, yes, that is a common microaggression that a person of color is reasonably likely to have experienced in some way, shape, or form. Oh, my brain doesn't work like that. Yeah, you're a white dude. It's not shocking that you didn't catch that immediately. That is the point of the episode is asking you to question why you don't notice things like that when they're very much common. Yeah, he is trying to undermine, like, he is absolutely trying to undermine the very concept of, like, experience, of sharing ideas and thoughts and perspectives. He's offended that he's being asked to ask questions. Oh my god.
I'm saying writing this is basically like a bigot detector. This is what I would think. That's why this episode is genuinely more horrific when you watch it twice, because you know where it's building up to. So all the little digs make sense. These are
literally like the whitest motherfucker you have seen on the planet. I just don't think that way. Oh, I've spoken to 2 black people in my life. I've no idea why anyone might get that perception from what was said.
Microaggressions? No, it's just because I know that you mean them that way. Look how many friends am I missing now? They're all going. People are getting...
No, they are microaggressions. Like, flat out, like, yes. In the context, like, a singular person, like, any one single comment that she made in this episode, you know, at least until later on, is something that could be hand-waved away as, like, oh, just a small mistake, or, you know, like a personal random, you know, I'm trying to think of the exact words for it. Like, they basically could be hand waved away as very much not a component of racism. But the conglomeration of all of those things, combined with the fact that there are suspiciously no people of color in this entire community, paints a very particular picture. They are not expecting you to see one person say, oh, I thought you guys looked the same, and think, oh, that must be because they're a white supremacist. That's not what they're saying. That is not what they're communicating. That would be beyond a stretch. But maybe they are asking you to consider, what does it say about our social perceptions of race that I didn't notice this, or that I registered this as normal? Or what does it say about these people that's the way that they think? And that's an interesting question for a piece of media to ask. I don't know. I certainly found it interesting, and my number one critique, or like my number one priority with art, even beyond it being actually good, is whether or not it makes me think about things, or makes me ask interesting questions. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll think it's good, but I'll at least like it.
Ethan, you need to leave.
Can you hear me? Cooper Mercy. Just 5 minutes ago, Cooper.
Honestly, the really annoying one getting eaten, I think that's just a plus for the world, but maybe that's just me. Oh, I've been telling you, people keep disappearing all the time.
Bro's fully, like, being racist, that's okay. That's not, you know, no big deal to me, but being annoying, now that should get you killed.
And then we see him get swallowed. Many an avocado face on display.
I told you! Why didn't you listen to me?
To be fair, it did listen to you. Kept saying, people are going missing, something's wrong. Said it before you did. I don't know why you're... sorry, I told you. I warned you. You should have known.
I can get...
The character is unreasonable. Oh, sorry, that probably popped.
You out.
I muted you.
Unmuted, honey.
It's all very antagonistic, isn't it? Why are you talking to me in time to save my life? I muted you. Yeah, but I'm unmuted, honey. You can't mute me.
I was so right to hate you.
Okay, but
Yeah, but why did she hate him? What blunt BBC reason could we have to hate the person trying to save our lives? This couldn't be a metaphor for the audience reaction, could it? We couldn't be trying to get ahead of things, could we? Remember She-Hulk was like, oh, well, in a few weeks it'll be you. So she is trying to convince her friends that, okay, we might need to listen to the doctor after all, because he might actually be able to save our lives.
I know this is wrong. When this is over, he is going to be so disciplined.
I mean, at first, I just assumed she meant taking control of the social media, because he does this.
Let me just squeeze in.
You can't do that.
Yeah, well, I just did.
I thought she meant that. I don't think that anymore, but I did when I was watching it.
Just give him a shot, okay? I think...
Yeah. Yes. They're trying to make you question the comments that are made. Her tone of voice really does register very much more with the race. Like, a damn good performance coming out of her, because listening back to that line now, it very much sounds like she's saying, I know this is wrong, in the way that that a far-right white supremacist calls something wrong, rather than just like I know this is a violation of the rules. But yeah, they're really, really trying to make you, like, ask a very simple question.
He's not as stupid as he looks.
It's not comments about how he looks, isn't there? To be fair, this may not be the best pause frame to disprove a point, but he says there are underground...
I love how often he's just agreeing with the racist plot point. Like, he's just literally like, oh, this is meant to be a microaggression, which is odd because I agree with it. Like, God damn it, dude. Like, this man has somehow managed to side with the racists this entire time, while also calling them cows. Like, it's impressive how much he is, like, threading the needle of hating anything that is even remotely outside of, like, the heteronormative expectation, while also making sure to defend everything that falls within the racist bubble. I don't know. It's an impressive game of, like, duck and weave.
Tunnels that you can escape through. Water used to generate electricity in this place. Well, you can escape through those tunnels, and I can save you. I'm sending you all the location now. The conduits are locked, but I can send you a code to get out. Don't worry.
And there have been some recent deaths due to the major incident, but that's over now and everything's fine.
Everything's fine there. Let's go back to the place where it's not fine. Without a battery, though, she's got to enter the real world and be exposed to the dangers of it. She can no longer hide behind her phone screen. I mean, social media bubble. And so as she desperately tries to learn how to walk without being told to walk.
Forward.
Yes, she still has to tell herself to walk forwards in order to walk forwards for some reason.
That was the thing that you complained about literally earlier in the episode, or in this video. You literally posed the question of, oh, what would happen if she asked herself to to walk forward? And now she's doing the very thing that you complained about the episode not doing. And you are still mad.
Do you get it? Do you get it?
Much like Velma, when the main insufferable character gets injured, best part of the episode. You even get to see it twice. I didn't even loop it back. Davis hates her as much as the audience does. Now the issue is, she finds a corridor surrounded by creatures, and for some reason forgets how to walk forwards again.
She's a white supremacist. Yes, she's hated. Yeah, congratulations. Yes, you are meant to hate this character.
I seriously wish I was joking, but this is a major plot point. This is the plaza she needs to get to, and so she doesn't have any other choice.
Oh no, I've forgotten how to walk forwards.
Because I'm an absolute moronic prat. You can't build a storyline about how somebody is so thick they can't walk forwards.
Yeah, you can. Sure you can. If you have, like, an ounce of creativity, sure you can. I didn't realize that we were putting limits on the extent of the very concept of creative writing. I didn't realize that we were deciding that there are some very rigid boundaries that you can't go into. Least of all, Doctor Fucking Who, like a show very famous for taking weird and sometimes ridiculous concepts and running with them for an episode. I'm starting to really feel like that the comment earlier that he's trying to undermine the validity of writing as a concept. Like, yeah, no, he literally just doesn't like art. Man, just like, he doesn't like creativity. He would very much like for every single movie to be exactly the same and follow the very same basic all white plot lines, and never ask him to challenge himself in any way, shape, or form, and simply make him feel comfy as he goes to sleep.
Oh no, I just keep swerving into the creature. I'm such an idiot.
Literally swerves into one of them. It's not horrifying or scary when you're the prat doing it to yourself. They're just standing still and the prey is walking into their mouths.
Yes, the scene is playing with tension as a concept. It's asking you to stretch your perception of what can be perceived as a tense scene by taking the typical horror trope of characters making stupid decisions and getting themselves into trouble, and it is dialing that up to 11 and showing you that in a certain sense the tension gets increased as a result of that. Like, I felt more uncomfortable during this scene than I would have during, like, say, during, Friday the 13th or something like that, where the characters are just idiots, because now she's so dumb that I start to loop back around into feeling incredibly afraid for her, because I can't even trust her to run away correctly, which is something that you can normally trust, like, a character in a horror, a tense setting to do.
Yes, that might be the only time I'll ever agree with Russell T. Davis. Yes. Well, also, this episode makes that comment make a lot more sense as well.
And a lot of us on the production team had the problems with that, of associating disability with evil. There's a very long tradition of this.
But she's definitely disabled.
What? Hang on, there's a voice telling me how to walk.
And as long as the voice is telling me what I was telling myself, then for some reason that allows me to move forwards. So he keeps telling her turn left, take 2 steps forwards, which enables her to walk into the middle because somebody else has given her instructions. And look who it is.
Is this for real?
No, it's me.
Yes, I'm the guy that makes terrible TikTok videos and can't act.
Just listen to my voice. All you have to do is walk forward. Use
I'm sorry, wait, are you saying that the actor can't act? Is that the sphere that is that the road that we're gonna go down? That this man can't act? Okay.
like the arrows.
For some reason, I managed to phone it in, because I think the only reason that I got this role is because I'm blonde. Despite having the ability to pick from most of the country for this role, for some reason they decided to pick me, who can't act.
I'm not on screen. I'm over here.
Hello.
Forward.
And so, through the power of being told what to do, she manages to walk forwards.
Oh my god, this is just literally like just anti-factual. Like just it. I don't know his name, but the guy who played Ricky September can act. He did a good job. He performed his character quite well.
My first watch through, at this point, I'm like, this is boring. On my second watch through, because I know where it's building up to, it's so much worse.
Forward, 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 forward.
Oh my god, you're so amazing. You managed to walk forwards as I told you to.
That's the first time I've ever done that. I mean, a hug.
I know this is an analogy for social media on your phone, but she's actually surrounded by people. Nothing stops her hugging one of them. It couldn't make less sense if it tried, really.
That was your first.
No, yeah, that's it. That's it. A man can't read. I like to tell people that there's no wrong way to experience art, that there's no wrong way to perceive things, but there is. It's whatever this guy's doing. You know, I imagine that a lot of really good episodes of TV would be really good, or would be really bad if you're incredibly stupid. I don't know. Sorry if that's mean, but listening to this man talk for 25 minutes straight, and I mean directly insulting real people. Like I don't feel bad making fun of this guy or being smug or whatever in response to him when he's an insufferable fucking asshole constantly. But like, yeah, no, you're right. Movies do suck. TV does suck if you're very dumb. Everything does. I don't know. Like, can I interest you in a Marvel movie, I guess? Like, maybe that's more your speed, although probably not. That's probably also too advanced for you. I'm sure there's something out there for you, though.
Hug. I'm so sorry I should have asked.
Yeah, we've also got some weird consent kind of thing going on, which makes even less sense when you actually go back and watch how it happened. She did it to him.
No, I made you. It was my fault. I shouldn't have.
Fucking god damn it. Oh my god. I can't. Like, this man is... Yes, he's blaming himself for something that's not his fault. First of all, weird consent thing is not a red flag at all, but also fucking what? Yeah. God damn, dude. Like, apparently this man just needs like subtitles at the bottom of every episode telling you who you're supposed to agree with in every given scene. Like he needs to see like, oh, this character is lying. This character is making a mistake. This character is incorrect about X, Y, or Z. Like, apparently he needs that. God damn. This is impressive. Okay. All right, let's
keep going. Him, love. It's not a big deal. And if you want a perfect example of this guy's incredible acting talent.
I tried to warn people on my videos, but they kept getting deleted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm so sorry that you have so much enthusiasm for all of the people that... Oh, it's just what happens. I mean, everyone's dead, Dave. It's just everybody's dead, Dave.
Yes. Yes, he's acting. He's not acting the way that a normal person would act in this context, because he's not a normal person. He's acting in the manner of a person who's been isolated from society by social media and who is also currently quite stressed about all of the things that are going on around him. He looks like he's looking over her shoulder, like he's potentially afraid of something. I don't know, like perhaps the slugs that she just walked past. Or maybe looking for other survivors or something to that effect. Yes, he's giving a perfectly good performance here. Like, you cannot trust this man to perceive anything with any semblance of accuracy.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? I mean, why'd you have to ask? Again, just go back to how it happened.
Come on, summer's night cycle.
He offered, she accepted. Hang on, I do need to ask you verbally, despite the fact that you grabbed my hand voluntarily. Do I have enthusiastic verbal answers to the questions I need to know?
Yes! They're an exaggerated version of the real world, and these people don't experience the same world that we do. Yes, they have a different means of obtaining consent. They're seriously, these people are opposed. At least this motherfucker is opposed to the very concept of allegory, of anything that makes him think slightly more than fucking thing on screen happening exactly as I'm perceiving it. I know. I'm starting to like lose the words here because he's just saying the same thing over and over again, and I don't want to repeat the exact same words every single time, but god fucking damn, this man is not good at his job. How many subscribers does this guy have? 240,000. There are 240,000 less than intelligent people on this planet.
Being recorded by my social media bubble for the future.
Is that okay?
It's fine.
Is that okay? Well, it was until you asked, mate. Now it's weird. Now I'm like, are you gonna let me go? You're giving me creepy white van with sweets in the back energy when you ask.
You're so good at walking.
It's so good at work. It's so difficult walking. He's like, well, the reason for that is I only make those social media videos really badly, and then I just turn it off and spend all my time reading. He looks like a big reader.
I turn the dot off for the rest of the day.
Oh my eyes, you're wild.
I know, you're like, really?
First of all, in the real world, he very much looks like someone who reads a lot of books. Not someone who reads a lot of good books, mind you, but he does look like someone who reads a lot of books.
Edgy, you actually get your phone and then turn it off? That is absolutely wild.
Stay in my apartment and read.
What? GQ magazine? I read it for the articles, written by women.
You're crazy.
But he's
How what is it like to be this kind of person? Like do you have a quota for how many like random jabs that you have to get at women? Like do you have to find like various different ways, like creative ways to get mad at the fact that women exist and do things in the real world? Like, what's going on, man? Are you okay? Are you being forced to do this? Is there someone with a gun under your desk? Like, what are we doing here?
Starts talking about, no, I actually read. I read a lot about history.
During the Great Abrogation, this whole city was sealed off. But
Now, when I watched it first, didn't look up that word, didn't really pay attention to that word, didn't know that they were trying to hint at something. Means it's time. Abrogation, where we repeal or abolish a law, right, or agreement. There is a lot of blonde people in the city, isn't there? With blue eyes. So something happened where the system changed. There was a great repeal of laws and rights, and now everybody looks like this. I wasn't thinking on this level when I first watched the show, because to me...
Okay, he is, to be clear, now blaming the show for the fact that he didn't know a word that was used. He's mad that the show used a word that's too big for him, and so he didn't catch the allegory. And mind you, I missed this word when I was watching it too. Like, that's on me. I clearly made a similar error to him. The difference between myself and this man in this particular context is that I'm not mad that word too big me no think. I don't know, man. That's maybe that's just me.
They just look English. I didn't have my Californian or London hat on. Boy, it's like a sledgehammer around the face when you know what's happening. But he's a monster just eating someone who kind of seems like they've been walking around in their pajamas. Like, no, look at me. Just focus on me. I'll save you.
look at me. I will get you out of here. I promise.
I mean, look, he can't act to save his life, but the character is decent, especially for someone like her who's basically insufferable.
Thought this was the worst day of my life, but maybe it's the best.
There's still thousands of people being eaten alive.
Yeah, but she doesn't care about any of those. Very self-centered is our main character. And when looked at through the...
Yes, she is. She is self-centered. You're correct. Okay, so he said that at the beginning of this video that apparently Russell T Davies hates white people, or that there's like some serious hateful bigotry here. At this point, he's just doing the synopsis, so I kind of want to like skip ahead to the point where we get to the actual conversation towards the end here. So I'm just going to assume that he makes fun of this guy's decent acting over and over again. Let's even give it like a few more minutes, because this feels like really repetitive.
No.
I wish I was joking. I'm really not.
Doctor, stop it, tell us.
Stop it, tell us. No.
No. Really?
No. No. Oh, come on.
Crazy bookkeeper.
Oh, no, it can't be.
She even joins in to desperately try and build some dramatic tension in this crap. Then we find out that actually all the names put together and the way they've died, the order they've died, they're in alphabetical order. They were all killed in alphabetical order because they were on a list, you see. A strange combination of people here. God, wonder what they disinfected. You remember this review? Too silly to be tense, yet not silly enough to be fun. Stephen Kelly, as you see in his first paragraph, after a remarkably strong run of stories, this week's episode, Dot and Bubble, is the first stinker of the Gattawa era. The first one. That's how awful the...
Okay, yeah, wow, that guy was off. That man was off base.
Messaging got for this episode. Even the people that enjoyed the others and liked that they were hammering your audience in the face saw this episode and were like, no.
This episode is probably the best of the era so far. The last three have all been pretty have been really good. And then Devil's Court, I think, was pretty solid. And Space Babies was fine. But like the last three have been really damn good. I'd be confident saying the last four have all been good at least. So no, this one is better than the rest of them. This guy is he's just a confusing guy. I don't know. People who write reviews for a living confuse me sometimes.
Oh, you've gone too far. A tonally confused, dramatically inert social media satire built around a jarring twist about racism, which, to be honest...
He can't read the word racism! He can't do it! He's physically incapable of reading the word racism. Like, I made fun of him earlier for the fact that he can't read the words of people who disagree with him without jumping to a weird, like, funky SJW voice. The man, literally, when he's talking normally, is afraid of the word. He's afraid of the word. He can't say, oh my god. Oh, dude. All right, this is sad, man. This is weak sauce. This is beta male behavior is what it is.
And at this point, it seems to me like to write this, you would have had to have been, ooh, there's a lot of blondes around here. They all look English. Must all be bigots. That's literally seems to be the thinking of this show. Can't have a load of blondes without, ooh.
I know I've said this before. That is not the argument that the show is making. This is very obvious if you do this revolutionary thing called watching the show.
Have you seen them? Now, as the Doctor's doing his reveal, they seem to just want to embarrass or humiliate her again. Again, it's a running trend throughout the episode.
These are the names in alphabetical order.
So?
Okay, so she doesn't get it the first time. They're in alphabetical order. Yeah, and?
They are in alphabetical order.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, so they're in alphabetical order. Yeah, I know that. I could see that all the names are in alphabetical order. What's your point?
They die in alphabetical order.
So he spells it out to her face, and he talks like this, the way you would talk to a pissing mentally deficient person. Do you get it?
You literally called her disabled earlier in the episode.
Do you get it?
I don't understand.
Oh, of course you don't understand. You are just blonde after all. If only you had the intellect of Cutie Gatwa.
Those things are eating people in alphabetical order right across the city.
I'm surprised she didn't just go, I don't get it! And she starts panicking. They're coming to eat me, they're coming to eat me, I'm next.
You might be next, but we're safe in this room.
And he does the masculine thing. Don't worry, I'll save you. I'll protect you. We're safe here. Calm down.
He does the masculine thing. This man Okay. Earlier on in this motherfucking video, he goes off about how he doesn't think that way. He doesn't think in this weird, like, he doesn't think about racism. He doesn't think about interactions between black and white people that are very clearly hinting at racism as being potentially racist. He doesn't think that way. But let me tell you, anytime that a man or a woman does something, he is absolutely going to filter that through his perception of how a man or a woman should be. Like, he does think that way when it gives him a chance to be sexist. But he doesn't think that way when it makes him, like, ask a question about, you know, maybe racism is bad, or maybe there are some ways that racism has been internalized that are worth examining here. Doesn't think that way. But sexism, oh boy golly, do we think that way.
You don't need to be worried. I mean, he can't act, but it makes you like the character.
Again, he can literally... What the fuck are you talking about? This man is perfectly fine at acting. Like, he did a good job.
Mindy, I'm getting you out of here.
She's insufferable and panicking. He's great at getting her out of here. What could possibly go wrong from this?
Oh, really, babes?
Okay, I should have asked. Do we have to undercut every kind of, look, I'm trying to build a tense Oh, babes. Oh, I said babes. The Doctor tells her, though, if they're eating in alphabetical order, those aren't from the forest. They've been systematically created and are being controlled. Which brings me to the question, why can't the Dot see them? The Dot must be the one controlling them. What if it's deliberately making people walk into them?
So it has achieved sentience, and then it has to spend all day hovering and listening to you.
I'd lose my mind as well. What, you mean I've turned sentient and I just have to listen to Cutie Gatwa moan on about his fashion sense all the time? Where are those genetically engineered monsters? No,
Wait, when did he do that? When did he moan on about his fashion sense all the time? When did that happen? Why, like, generally speaking, if you're gonna, like, exaggerate something, it's based off of, like, a consistent thing. But I would not say that he talks about his fashion sense all the time. Especially given the fact that the last 2 episodes have barely had him in them. I'm confused.
Eat me, not him. I just can't do it anymore.
I'm not being rude, but I think it's learned to hate you.
To be fair, the monsters aren't the only one.
Then they turn off your dot, but it's just a dot.
It's gonna get you killed. But then, the dot turns evil, and you know it turns evil because it gets a red LED on it. A bit like when you get your phone and the charging light comes on, means it's evil.
You will obey me, dot off!
You will obey me, tiny little ball.
I don't know if I would say it turned evil there, necessarily. Did get a red light, but I don't know. I'm not going to say, like, I'm not in favor of literally what the AI is doing here, but, like, I get it, you know, I feel for him.
So it starts.
Oh, no. Oh, God. I just assumed the AI is, oh, fuck. Oh, shit, I'm being canceled. I'm canceled. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my brain cells watching this. I'm going to be canceled for all of the things that I say in this video because I'm absorbing this man's intellect.
To fly at her heads with the intention of flying through it. And like, hang on, calm down, mate. If the ball could just fly through their faces, why didn't it do that anyway? Why did it genetically engineer a monster when it could have just flown through all of their faces in alphabetical order in probably about 5 seconds?
Right, we wouldn't have had a TV show if they did that, would we?
So it's flying around.
I don't know. I mean, there are probably some fairly simple in-universe explanations for that. Like potentially the fact that they're on different cycles. And so, how do I put this? They're on, people are on different sleep cycles or whatever. So there's the potential for people figuring out what's going on earlier. Specifically if the dots themselves are the thing that's attacking them, right? You're more likely to catch on to that and avoid the dot as a result, whereas they obviously want people to shelter themselves deliberately, which requires making the dot accessible. I don't know. It could also have been a problem of maybe that's not an entirely successful means of killing people. I don't know. Or some people don't have their dots on, or they're not always charged. These are just guesses that I'm making. But I'm also perfectly fine with just saying like, oh yeah, no, the dots did this because that's how they wanted to do it. Like, clearly they're a self-aware AI. Maybe they don't like killing things that way. Maybe they just didn't want to. I'm fine with that being the explanation.
Sound like some kind of laser test dummy out of Star Wars. I don't know why it hit her in the arm. That just seems a bit mean, to be honest. But he's like, I can save you, but you need to push in these buttons. So they swap with her getting the numbers, and he decides, I'm going to take this thing on. To be fair, he does it pretty well. I mean, he could be Luke himself. Makes you like him even more. He's now defending the person. He's taken on the job himself. He will save the day.
I'll point it off, do the numbers.
Yeah, you will, mate. This goes on for a while of him just basically playing baseball with it. And he's like, just open the door and get through. Don't worry, I'll be right behind you. That looked like it hurt. He's struggling on the floor after getting knocked out. He's like, Lindsay, watch out, it's coming for you.
His surname is Coombs!
And she stitches him up. No, you need to get him. His surname is C. I know everything about him. I'm a big fan, and I know his original name. You're going off his stage name that he uses. His real name is before me. You should kill him before me. She stitches him up.
He changed his name to Ricky September when he reached 50,000.
I can't tell if he's trying to criticize the show with this. But yes, she does do those things.
I'd like to point out he's still got that metal bar. I'd be walking across that room and using it right now. So after finding out she's a selfish, loser's cow, and he should basically have left her out in the street.
Why? Why is that your go-to insult? Not only is it just kind of like a really obvious indicator for a person who maybe has a problem with women, because people who don't have problems with the women's don't tend to call them cows. Nothing that she's done in this episode has even made that particular, even if I was in this really, I was really upset at women for, I don't know, saying no to me, for not holding hands with me on at our first middle school dance. I still don't see why I would be calling this particular woman that. Yeah, no, like I said before, I feel like far be it from me to defend YouTube's copyright, but this feels like, even if it is technically fair use, it really doesn't fall under the spirit of it. That's for sure.
Street, she gets him killed as she escapes. What a lovely person. I told you, she's been in...
She's a bad Yes! You imply that is not exactly what they're going for. Yes, she is a bad person. Congratulations. You have discovered what the show is communicating.
Annoying the entire episode, but when you know she does that to the guy who sacrificed himself at every stage to protect her, and is the only reason she's still alive, calmed her down when she panicked, and that's how she treats her. I don't even know what the message is meant to be for this plot. I just know she's horrific. It's got a sting.
That is the message. Yes. Good job.
Either way, she gets through the door. And at this point, you're like, there's no way she's escaped, right? Because she's evil. She's a villain. She has to get what she deserves. Except masculine morality is never the point of this show. So now, we move on to the sledgehammer to the face. Because she's...
What the fuck? Masculine morality? Is that a term that I'm not familiar with? Okay. Doesn't appear to have a very obvious page. I don't think that way, guys. I don't think in terms of race. I just think of everything in terms of gender dynamics. That's all I think about.
She's safe. She got through the door. She found everyone else, including the TARDIS and the Doctor. Bit of a weird look for meeting the guy that saved your life, isn't it? Well, apart from the one you got killed. And even at this point, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because I didn't realise. And she feels guilty. She's worried that they'll judge her because she just got that guy killed. That she threw him under the bus. That's why she doesn't want to meet him.
I was taught that by a very wonderful man.
You mean the wonderful man that you just got killed through that doorway about 30 seconds ago? He was so wonderful. Yeah, he protected me. Then I got...
Yes. Yes, she does. This is not impressive.
Got him killed. But he'd say no. He protected me. I could only assume it's character assassination in preparation for the next bit.
Hey, where's Ricky?
She only said hi. She's like, oh, no.
Is he with you? He went back. He said he had other people to save.
I think it's trying to say that when you're on social media, you project a fake life. It's kind of like people's highlights. Oh, look at me. I'm on holiday in this place. Now I'm on holiday here. Oh, isn't this food gorgeous that I took a photograph of specially? And so because this world is entirely focused on social media, she can even do that meeting people to their face. I think that's what they're getting at.
He was.
Oh, I have literally never seen any of his other stuff. That's good to know. I want to know exactly what he defines as that. I'd be very interested in it. I don't know. No comment outside of that.
So brave.
And if you do that social media thing in real life, basically makes you evil, is what I think they're getting at. And they're like, hang on, this is weird. Something strange about all this, isn't there?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's say.
I mean, yeah, I guess a logical extrapolation of that incredibly fake way of experiencing life, that fake care for one another, that, that like fake version of yourself you put out there. If you were to really extrapolate that and take it to extreme, it would be pretty fucked up. It would be pretty evil.
Thank you. Very strange.
It's okay.
It was, nice of you.
And awkward. Really very awkward. But the Ginger's like, it's fine, you got here just in time. We're all going. Yeah, we're leaving. We're going to go down where that river is and then go out into the forest. We're going to rebuild everything, make a new life together. This guy, Mr. Avocado Farmer, he's going to be their new leader.
You could come with us.
I don't know, mate. I've seen your previous episodes. I think I'd take my chances out with the wild animals as well, to be honest. I've already got a fear of pianos thanks to you.
We could what?
This is where the episode takes a bit of a turn. Puts a different spin on everything that came before it. A lot of blonde people, aren't there?
Come with us.
We helped you escape, didn't we?
True. I mean, we helped you escape. We could save you. I mean, I've got a magic spaceship. It actually breaks the laws of physics. It's bigger on the inside, and you could all fit in it. No, he genuinely says that to them.
I have a ship. It's called the TARDIS. That's blue box.
Thank you, mate. I'm a bit new to Doctor Who, like the rest of the audience that you're desperately trying to grab. I didn't know that the TARDIS was a blue box. Thank you for telling me, mate. Thank you.
It harnesses technology.
He said that do you speak this language? Sorry, I don't like to insult people on the grounds of like their language usage unless they're the kind of person who has very, very dodgy views on particularly race for the most part, right? Because those are the people that are like, oh, England for the English and that kind of shit. And the level of like snobbish, self-righteous indignation that this guy has given throughout the episode, like he thinks that he's so much smarter than these people, and then he doesn't understand that line of dialogue is not the character saying that's a blue box. He's saying my ship is that blue box. He is pointing at it. He's saying that is my ship. He is not. Yeah, I don't know. Like this doesn't even feel like he's lying. I think he's just not very smart. Like I genuinely that makes more sense to me than the alternative.
That makes it bigger on the inside than on the outside.
Thank you for explaining to me how the TARDIS works.
I could find you a home that is safe and clean.
And only a little bit flamboyant.
But we couldn't travel with you.
Yeah, and she means it. No, we really couldn't travel with you.
Because you are not one of us. I mean, you were kind, but that was your duty to save me.
Mm-hmm. And right now, when I was watching, I was getting a bit confused. What do you mean not one of us? Not from this town. I mean, it was protected and sealed. They only allowed 17 to 27-year-olds and rich people. Is that what you mean? Is it a class-based argument?
If you hadn't figured it out by then, that's on you. That is a you problem. And again, that's not me calling you a racist. I mean, I am calling you a racist for other reasons, but not for that. But that's a you problem by that point. And it perhaps suggests that maybe this episode would be good for you if you were open to asking yourself very, very basic questions.
I'm English. I assumed it was a class-based
I
argument.
mean, screen-to-screen contact is just about acceptable, but in person, that's impossible.
It's about now the penny drops, actually. And even then, I'm like really confused. Are you saying what I think you're saying? It was only when the episode ended I thought back, I'm like, hang on. There was a lot of blonde people, wasn't there? I just thought we made an English show in England, but no.
Bigger on the inside.
Excuse me?
They're not in England. They're not in England. They're on a different planet.
That's voodoo.
And I can only assume linking him to voodoo is some kind of American microaggression. I don't know. If I had to guess which bit that Disney wrote the stereotypes for, I'm assuming they're American.
I mean, no, voodoo is oftentimes used as a stereotype of people from Africa, or used to stereotype people from Africa. I guess I don't know how common that is in the UK, but like that is certainly not a surprising one, a surprising thing for them to pull out.
Good references. I just don't get.
Because it is our God-given duty to maintain the standards of fine time.
The standards, the disinfectants. A lot of blonde and ginger people around here, aren't there?
No, thank you, and goodbye.
So they leave. And like, no, we know you've offered to help, but have you seen you? You're what we disinfected. And the doctor's amazed.
I don't care what you think.
And this is where he's going to preach. I'm surprised he didn't go, look, I don't care what you think. But have you considered going out and touching grass? Because that's what he said before, but now all of a sudden he's like, no, believe what you want. I still want to save you.
The actor, does he not understand that the actor and the character are different people? Like, is that not a thing that he's aware of? Because he keeps referencing stuff that Ncuti Gatwa has said and done, and in conjunction with things that the character, the doctor, is doing. And those are two different people. He's an actor. Maybe that's why he thought that the guy who played Ricky September is a bad actor, because he's seen the guy act in real life, and that's not how he acts, and so he's like confused by it, because he's not aware that acting is different from being your regular everyday self.
I can save you.
You can say whatever you want.
What happens if they don't end it in A?
Absolutely anything. I will do anything.
I just want to save you. I will carry you away on my back, no matter how horrible you treat me. Because I am the martyr. I am better than you. I will withstand all of your hatred just to...
Congratulations. You have described a core aspect of the Doctor. Yes. The Doctor is someone who is notorious for being self-sacrificing, for being willing to put himself in harm's way to help other people. You cannot act like this is the show being preachy when, by my count, we're on the 15th mainline Doctor. 15th? And they've mostly all been that way. I mean, I guess not really Hartnell. He was kind of a dick. The character, to be clear. I don't know about the actor, because I'm aware that those are two different people. But yes, he's a selfless character. Yes.
Improve your life.
If you just allow me to save your lives.
And the music kicks in as if he's doing something amazing. Absolutely no tension in the scene at all, but that music is trying, folks.
Yeah, he is doing something pretty fucking amazing. It takes a particular type of character, in this case, the Doctor from BBC's Doctor Who is very famous for acting in this particular manner, to be willing to save the lives of people who hate you, to be that willing to do that. It does take a good person. And the Doctor, as someone who is usually a moral paragon, and when they're not, the show is critiquing them, it makes sense for him to act in that way.
Ladies, before you're contaminated.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him to rub off, would you? Wouldn't want to be contaminated by his presence. I can't believe they put this in a TV series. This is like a fetish. That's what it's so bizarre.
We can all die out there.
But you would rather go out and live on your own, as your ancestors did, going out and taming the wilderness, than have me save you.
And I can say...
Why is he so desperate to defend the racists? Like, why is he so desperate to be on their side? Like, he hates them all because all of them look too gay for him, but he is all... at all points in time, desperate to, like, make them look good. Like, what is this?
Save your lives! Now let me!
Except they don't care, because they've looked at him, and they were like, no, and he can't believe it. Oh, well. He does kind of get a kick out of it, though. Well, I mean, I tried. If they would have vanished off the face of the earth because they don't like me, I guess that's up to them. There was a lot of spit in that scene. I mean, it's quite impressive, actually, like, genuinely impressive. I don't know where all these, like, supplies have come from. This underground thing has been abandoned for decades, but now they've all got these sort of pelican cases with food in. And he's crying.
Okay, cool. There were cases of food. Characters had cases of food. It's not a plot problem. I don't know, man.
I'm going to die just because they hate me. And I can't save them, despite the fact I want to. I was going to let them hate me, and I was still going to save them. And so they leave.
Yes. Yeah, that is what he was going to do. Because he's like, you know, generally speaking, a good person. Yeah.
On the river, he watches them go. And Ruby walks off. I can't believe those bigots wouldn't even allow us to save him. Have they not seen me? I'm yeah, admittedly, it's fake blonde, but I'm at least showing solidarity with the blonde cause. And so he cries again. Because of course he's crying. I just like to point out, in every episode of this series, he's cried. There was one episode where he wasn't in it, Ruby was, but apart from that, every episode he's cried. And I was so confused. Genuinely. To me, that ending came out of nowhere. I didn't pick up on any of the clues. I didn't notice. I think
that's a you problem, bud. I mean, in fairness, he looked at the letter R and could not tell that it was the letter R at the beginning of this video. But still, that's a you problem. That is your own damn fault. And not getting it does not make you a bigot. Okay? That's not what they were telling you. That's not what the show was telling you. Doesn't make you a bigot for not getting it. You're a bigot for a bunch of other reasons that are seemingly unrelated to that fact. But yeah, you cannot fucking complain that the show that hit you over the head with its goddamn metaphor was too subtle for you, was too unclear.
because they live in London, they expect you to go around and go, hang on, a lot of people missing from this. They're so BBC and Californian brains. Oh, we've got to have everybody. They think that you'll look at that and go, a lot of blonde and ginger people in this. Where's all the normal people? And that's what's meant to tip you off. And so because that tips you off, you then click into everything else.
That's not what's meant to tip you off. That is one of the things that could tip you off. There are a bunch of things that are meant to tip you off.
It's all the words that they use, like, oh, everyone's been put on a list. The disinfecting what? Oh, I know. You're supposed to put that together. And I'm just like, no, I wasn't enough of a bigot to realize. That seems to be the Davis demographic.
Dude, you noticed every single little, like, gender dynamic bit in this entire episode, and you made a bunch of weird side comments about race and stuff. That is absolutely how you think. That is absolutely the world that you live in. You cannot play this whole, oh, I'm actually colorblind. Oh, I actually don't see the world in that way, so I didn't catch this. When, yeah, you do see the world in that way. You are very much the bad person in this scenario. Like this, like faux gesturing at liberal, like, what's the word? Like just like this liberal color blindness or whatever. When you literally just are racist. Like you have spent this entire episode defending all of the racist things that they do. I don't know. It's impressive, to be honest.
That seems to be who he's aimed at. That's the only thing I can assume. They notice about shows in the BBC, that that's what they care about. And so they wrote it for themselves. But, well, if I watch this, I'd pick up on it. Okay, mate. But I think that says more about you than me. I was just like, yeah, this is filmed in Wales. That's what Wales looks like. Or maybe he filmed it in Scotland. That's what Scotland looks like. To me, it's not a trigger warning, some kind of sign that there's something wrong. You're supposed to be looking for a deeper, darker mystery. That actually, they're all bigots. And the only reason that they look like they're Welsh, because they got rid of everybody that wasn't. How am I supposed to work that out? And it's only on the second watch through.
Again, he literally complained that they used a word that was too big for him. A word that, like, would have tipped him off to what was going on. But it was a word he didn't know. And so he was mad that he didn't know the word.
When you know where they're going, when you know the message that they're trying to push, it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I watched it without the messaging. And with that, it's just an incredibly boring episode. Badly acted, poorly put together. And I don't know what Cutie and the sidekick were doing, but maybe they should be in their own show. The ending in this.
Has he pronounced Ncuti Gatwa's name different every single time? Does he think that that's, like, impressive that he doesn't know how to pronounce a guy's name? Like, does he think that's cool? Hey, he's British. I'm forgiving of British people for that one.
This makes the episode so much worse. And I think it makes it worse retroactively when you understand what they're trying to do. It was a lazy, London-centric BBC twist. An eye-rolling takedown of modernity. It was only a matter of time, of course, before the Doctor acknowledged the fact that Gatwa isn't blonde or ginger. That actually reminds me of one of his other interviews.
Was that what was
before
said?
The Doctor
acknowledge the fact that he's the first person of color to play the... Okay, he's just, for some reason, using blonde and ginger as a stand-in for white, I guess. I don't know.
Acknowledge the fact that Gatwa isn't blonde or ginger. That actually reminds me of one of his other interviews. Oh, of course, we're going to have to mention it. You can't ignore my chocolateness. This is the episode he meant. I had expected and hoped that Gatwa's status would be engaged with in a more substantial way than this, but it's nothing more than a cheap twist at the end of a forgettable bubblegum farce. And that is from someone that likes this area of Doctor Who.
Yes, they wanted the race of the character to be engaged with because that's an interesting area for the show to explore. Like, I'm sorry that you're opposed to interesting concepts, but that's how it be.
Intended it to have hidden depths. Only the hidden depths that a BBC executive would notice, because that's the way that they think. That's the way they see the world. That's the kind of people that they are. No, Davis, this episode didn't have the effect that you thought it did. It doesn't say anything about the audience, whether they like Gatwa or not as the Doctor. It's got nothing to do with them. It doesn't even have anything to do with Gatwa himself. But it does say a lot about the creators, how they see the world, and their ilk at the BBC and Disney. I even tweeted out that I'm not sure I actually understand what they were getting at, but I have an idea. But the more I went and thought about it, watched it again, picked up on the clues, yeah, I don't dislike this episode. I'm disgusted by it.
If you watched all the way to the end, and you still didn't get what they were getting at, then that, like, it's already a you issue, but you're genuinely, like, fridge temp IQ at that point. I don't understand how a person can be that unintelligent and not be just, like, lying. I don't know. Good fucking God.
And the people that made it. You had to really go some to beat bringing David Tennant back and crapping all over him, but congratulations, you've done it. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video, like the video, subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you, unfortunately, in the next one.
You should not subscribe to this guy because he's a racist and very dumb. But you know, like, you should subscribe to this channel. We're pretty cool over here. We're cool people. I talk to some cool people. I wash my hair more often, that's for sure. I washed it this morning. It looks pretty bad here because I fucked up the braid. Like, it's, like, really weirdly loose and stuff at the end, but I was wanting it to, like, be kind of, you know, it was wet and I wanted to braid it so it'd be curly. It's probably not going to look great because I fucked up the braid and didn't decide to fix it. Not because I didn't have time, I just didn't feel like it. But yeah, wow. Okay, So I have now sat through, I mean, I guess I skipped about 4 minutes, and I'm not going to watch the very last 1 second. So, you know, maybe he says just kidding at the end. I guess we'll find out later. Or maybe we'll never find out. But I have sat through an entire Disparu video, and yeah, this guy's a piece of work. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. That is for absolutely certain. Let's see what the comments look like. A person incapable of understanding allegory. Cool. Really good. Another person, yep, same thing. Okay. That's not what was said. Did he not say at the beginning that they were that Russell T Davies was gonna say that he like hated white people or something? It literally, Doctor Who review goes full mask off, hates the fans. He never substantiated that. He never gave an example of that. What do you mean? I was promised evidence that Doctor Who hates the fans, and I didn't get that. I didn't even get an attempt at that. Why would you make that the title of your video? I get accused of clickbait all the time when I criticize these people and I say like, X person says something dumb, and then they're like, that's clickbait because we don't like you. But then like I go and watch their videos and they just don't, like, they don't even deliver on the promise of the title. You know who does do that? I deliver on the promise of the title, or at least I make a gesture at it. At least I attempt to do that. God damn. Well, that was depressing. I don't know if I'll be able to use clips from this in my upcoming video, but I guess, like, I hope so, because I don't really want to watch more of this guy's content. But wow. Okay. Well, thank you to everyone who is who's hanging out in chat, or who's hanging out, you know, watching this, who spent time with us. I think this is probably the most like concurrent viewership that I've had. Just doing a live stream on my own. I don't do this very often, so that's not surprising, but I appreciate it. I appreciate your input. It's been a good time, mostly, you know. Appreciate being around here with y'all. But yeah, I think at this point, I'm gonna end this one off, and y'all have a great rest of your day.